Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this Keptn community meeting. We have a very, very large agenda for today. We have a couple of special items that we want to cover today, and I will jump in. Just let me say one thing. So we are following here the Cncf Code of Conduct. That basically means please be nice to each other. We have a couple of people joining as panelists, and we have a couple of people joining as participants in the meeting. So if you want to ask some questions to the Keptn developers, please do this via the Q&A section. We have disabled the chat, and we have also disabled for participants video sharing and voice sharing. So just please raise your voice by opening up a question in the Q&A. So that will help us a little bit with the housekeeping here. So first part for today is we are very excited to be part of the CommunityBridge. The CommunityBridge is a program, a mentoring program from the CNCF, where mentees can apply and they will be then matched with projects, and basically they get a mentor assigned from the project, and then they can work on open source projects. I think there is even some kind of a scholarship attached to this. And we really want to help the open source community to contribute to open source. And we are really happy to help mentees to work on open source project, especially if they are interested in Keptn, we would be especially happy. So we have listed here 2 projects that we submitted to the mentoring program CommunityBridge of the CNCF. If you're interested, please take a look at these 2 projects. The one is more Angular focused. We are looking here for improvements to the Keptn's bridge, where we basically want to have a nice visualization of remediation actions that are part of Keptn. And for the second project, that's more Golang focused, we are seeking for improvements to the Keptn CLI, where the Keptn CLI makes it more easy to switch between Keptn installation by either combining this with the kube context or making other possible implementations to switch the context of different Keptn implementations. The sign up period, I think it's until Monday. So please be fast and go to the CommunityBridge. It's this link up here and sign up, and then get yourself assigned to the Keptn project. Another initiative that we have during the month of October, so starting next week, is we are participating in the Hacktoberfest. That's an online event, and we are part of a sub-event there that's called contributing.today, or their website is contributing.today, because MD was not possible. And we are also listed there with a very short YouTube video, kind of introduction to the project, kind of skill set you want to have, you should have when you want to contribute to Keptn. So if you're interested in contributing in the next month to Keptn, please also make sure to sign up for the Hacktoberfest. I think this initiative is also giving away some t-shirts, or you will be kind of recognized during this period when you're signing up also via the Hacktoberfest. So with this, all those contributions I was already talking about, and we're inviting new people to contribute to Keptn. But I'm very happy that for today, we also have our community rockstar of this quarter joining in this meeting today. Hi, Bert. Nice to have you here on this call.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
So, Bert, you are our newest, latest community rockstar. Thanks to all your contributions around Azure DevOps. And you did a webinar already with Andy. You did a lot of work around Keptn.
Yep.
So can you tell us a little bit about the integration that you did and how you like to work with Keptn and the platform?
Yeah, sure. I talked to Andy about 2 years ago in the very beginning of Keptn. And he talked to me about what the ideas of Keptn was, and at that point I was already interested. But then it started growing, and it started it really started living. So I joined, and the first things I contributed to Keptn was a lot of questions, I think, on Slack. so those were the first contributions. But yeah, then we actually started with it in one of our projects. Said, okay, let's do this. And it was an Azure DevOps pipeline and a very, let's say, more traditional application, not in a Kubernetes context yet, because we are moving towards microservices as we speak. So I made a small, PowerShell script as a first. But then I thought this is very interesting material, and at that moment, Andreas already created his Jenkins plugin. So I thought, let's do exactly the same, but then on Azure DevOps. So, so not very unique, but very helpful. And since then, we already have 2 customers here in Belgium. So our first one, which is using it, and then another one also, which we convinced to actually use Keptn quality gates, because that's what it actually is about. So maybe I can just share.
Sure. I just stopped sharing for a second.
Yeah. So voila, I think you're seeing my screen now.
Yes.
So that's about it. Hey, already 20 installs, great. Can be better, of course. So the idea is we have indeed our complete webinar with Andy talking about it. But the idea is actually after configuring to have an easy way to send to Keptn the order configuration changed event, or the deployment finished event, or the start evaluation event. To just say to Keptn, do your thing. And then in the end, we also have a task that actually waits to get the evaluation done, configuration back, so that we have our results in our pipeline. So that's actually the entire idea. So currently it's a certain release, I think 1.16, but still have some things to do regarding certainly Keptn 7 or 07. And I think 5 minutes ago I did the K3s installation of the 7 one. So so soon I will be testing this against 7. Normally it should work, but yeah, we're continuing to move in the good direction.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. Thank you so much for your contributions.
No problem.
It's great to see that.
Thank you for the T-shirt, by the way.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So I'm taking over screen sharing again.
Yep.
And yeah, so if someone else from the Keptn community now thinks, hey, I also want to be a Keptn community rockstar, I want to receive this special T-shirt that also Bert received, then we kind of have some, let's say, guidelines how to become a community rockstar, how to be recognized by the Keptn community. Just go to github.com/Keptn/community, sorry, and you will find the latest community rockstars, and you will find those guidelines. Yeah, just please get in touch with us. And I think it's always a good start to get started with a contribution to Keptn. That's like the most visible thing for the Keptn community. So thanks again, Bert. Then we are moving to the next part here. So if you want to stay in touch and if you want to stay updated around Keptn, we have a lot of meetups and webinars going on starting again in October. We have one already today. Then just sign up for the Google group, or it's a mailing list, so you get around weekly updates. and you will stay up to date. If you want to start working with Keptn and contributing to Keptn, again, we have a list of good first issues, and I think we even have some of those, some first contributors on this call today. I think they also started with this list of good first issues that the development team is always gathering and preparing for the whole community. So with this, I'm already handing over to Florian, and we will go through the list of noteworthy issues and PRs.
All right, thank you, Jürgen. Let me just share my screen. Okay, today I have 4 PRs to show you. The first one affects the Lighthouse service, especially the way we are now handling the include result with score filter for comparison-based evaluations. So the way this worked until recently was that if you wanted to, for example, do a comparison-based evaluation with past evaluations by setting the include result with score parameter, for example, to past. The way the Lighthouse service did that is it fetched the last, or for in this example with warning result, the Lighthouse service fetched the last 3 events, for example, with the result warning. And then within those evaluation done events, for each SLI, it again checked the actual result of the individual SLI value. And it only took those values into considerations that had the passing state. So for example, if we evaluated this SLI here, or service level objective, we had a look at that value. That one was taken, good, so it was considered, that one as well, and that one as well. But if we look at that example here, if we evaluate this objective, we check that value and see that one's failed, and that one's failed as well, and that one as well. So actually it didn't have any comparison values it could compare against. And as you might have noticed now, this strategy takes a lot of explaining. So we made it simpler actually. So now the way it works, it will only apply the filter on the evaluation level. So it will again, for example, take those 3 events, but it will not do any further filtering within those Ssl service level objectives. So now in this instance, all of those values would be taken. All right, are there any questions about that?
Only a comment from my side. We are obviously relying on feedback regarding this. So this basically came up because we discussed it and we thought, how can we visualize it? And then we noticed, this seems weird. So we changed it, but it's not sure if that's the correct way or the best way to evaluate results. So we rely on your feedback if you're implementing the quality gate.
Exactly, yeah. So we're looking for feedback here. All right, let's go on with the second one. This also affects the Lighthouse service. Let me just open the issue. So basically the story behind that is that if you are using the quality gates use case, for example, and you send a start evaluation event for a project or a stage or service that doesn't actually exist. So for example, if you do a typo when entering the service name, there really wasn't a convenient way of noticing this error. So what happened is the evaluation or start evaluation event was sent via the CLI, and the API forwarded it to the Lighthouse service. And there it kind of got stuck and you didn't get any evaluation done events. And this has been changed now. So now the Lighthouse service will check if it can retrieve the service level objectives for this project, stage, and service combination. And if yes, it will continue to do the evaluation as it has already done before. But if there is no SLO file available, it will check if the service or the stage or the project actually exist. And if they do not exist, it will send out an evaluation done event containing an appropriate message telling that either the service doesn't exist within the stage of the project, or the stage doesn't exist within the project, or the project doesn't exist at all. So we think this extension makes it a little bit easier to debug those kind of error scenarios. All right, are there any questions about that? Okay, if not, let's continue with the next one. So this is for the configuration service. It's a little extension. So if you have used the get resource endpoint, so for example, to retrieve certain configuration files for a service within your Keptn project, what you got in the payload is you got the base 64 encoded content of the file and the resource URI. And since we want to continue to better implement the GitOps approach, we also thought that it might be useful to have additional metadata about the resource you just retrieved. Like, for example, the git commit ID, then the URL of the upstream repository, if you have configured one, and also the branch this resource has been fetched from. So now we also do include those informations within the payload, and yeah, this just gives you a little bit more context and makes it easier, for example, in the case of the Lighthouse service, because that one fetches the SLO file from the service that's being evaluated. And now it would be possible to also really tell which version of the SLO file has been used for a particular evaluation. This is helpful if you changed the SLO file in the past and or updated it along the way and want to trace back and see what it actually evaluated against. All right.
Quick question. This is not part of 072, right?
No, this will be part of 08.
And is this breaking? So if I'm a consumer of the configuration service, do I have to change anything in my microservice?
No, so there are only additional fields that have been added, but the fields that used to be there, so the resource content and the resource URI stayed the same.
Nice, thanks.
Florian, just a quick question. Do you have a payload that shows how this information is now embedded into a request or response?
I had one here, but my other browser window crashed. What I can do is I can write a comment.
I guess you have one on the PR. I saw it during the review. Oh, no, sorry.
Is it in a resolved conversation, maybe? If there is one, I don't know.
No.
Okay.
I will
yeah,
add
it doesn't matter.
To the issue and also to the PR, where I can inspect that. All right, and the fourth one is actually a new service that currently lives in the Keptn sandbox organization. And this one is called the statistics service and allows you to retrieve usage statistics for your Keptn installation. So the way it can be deployed is the same as for most of the other Keptn contrib services. So you just need to apply the manifest that lives here in the deploy folder. And then you can access it using kubectl port forward. And it also has a Swagger UI. And let me just bring this up real quick.
I have a payload example in the releases page if you just want to show the payload.
Oh yeah, that's better.
I think that's easier.
Yeah, because my laptop just crashed earlier and now I lost most of the actual demo stuff I wanted to show. All right, let's go to the releases. Yeah, here it is. Thank you. So basically what we get here is you can query the usage statistics for a certain time frame by providing the from and to parameter as a Unix timestamp. And then you will get a result that will look like the following. So again, here you get the from and to timestamps to check if it returned the correct time frame. And then you get an overview with the projects that are within your Keptn installation and the services within those projects. And what you can see here in the services is, in addition to the name, of course, the number of sent events for a given type. So how many approval finished events have been sent for that service, how many configuration changed events have been sent, etc. And you also get the statistics of which Keptn execution plane services have been involved in this service and how many events of a certain type they have sent for your services. So here, for example, the gatekeeper was involved in the service and it sent one approval finished, one approval triggered event and two configuration changed events, etc. And you also get this, basically for all execution plane services that are somehow involved in the task sequences for that particular service. All right, any questions about that?
Also, just a quick one. Is there still some work to do because it's not closed yet, that issue?
It wasn't closed because it wasn't closed automatically, but it can be closed. Yeah.
We can actually discuss quickly, do we want this to keep in Keptn Sandbox as a separate service or do we want to integrate it into Keptn Core?
I think it's very useful. So I would go for integrating it into the Keptn Core.
Because I mean, the issue was raised in Keptn Core and we just implemented it in Sandbox for, well, not breaking things initially.
Maybe we can there for a beta testing and once we get the first responses, how people like it, or if they want something to have changed, then move it to contrib or to core.
Yeah, let's leave it here like we did with the Jmeter extended service, and then we integrate it once we believe it's production ready.
So in the payload, we have double information. For example, we have an object which is called Helm service, and then we specify the exact same information within the name. But I guess that's fine.
I guess it depends on the output format that you're used to. I'm not seeing a problem with that right now, but obviously you could compress it if you remove the name raise a pull request or an issue.
All right. If there are no further questions, I will hand over to Supratik.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm a new contributor to Keptn, and the issue that I was working on, I will just share the screen. Yeah. Just a moment.
First of all, welcome to the Keptn community. It's great that you are contributing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was really glad. The project is awesome, and I really love to, work on it. Yeah. Yeah. So, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes. So the issue that I was working on is this improve CLI error message when the API connection fails. So sorry, this is the issue. Yeah. So before previously, what happened then that whenever the commands API kept an add resource or any other command that interacted with the API was run, if the API was not running or there was some problem with the API, it used to throw this kind of errors, and sometimes errors are misleading, and some remedial actions were also not given. So it was totally dependent on the user to probe the error and find out what was the problem. So my task was to build a utility function that would actually ping the API before before performing the before going on with the command. So here is a bit of the code that I wrote, and what it basically does, it takes the endpoint as an argument. This function takes the endpoint as an argument and performs a head request just for the sake of pinging, and then there is this client.do for running, and it will throw all the errors that could have occurred in the process. So I exactly mimic the entire configuration that is actually used by Keptn to interact with the API, so that I get the exact kind of error that would have occurred if I had been using this add resource command. And in the command itself, I incorporated it using this part. Endpoint error, it will first check whether what is the status of the endpoint, and then it will throw the it will show the errors. Along with that, it will show some of the remedial actions, like this is that and this is that. So this is how it works. So I will just show a quick demo of this. Let's say I am using the simple node service as an example, and I have a shipyard of Keptn 7, and here is a API server running. So if I just wait a minute. Yeah, so if I perform add resource, it will, like, the resource will be added successfully because the API is because the API is running. But if I shut down the API and if I perform the same command, it will tell the exact error and connection refuse, and it will also show the possible reasons. Actually, I messed up my Keptn installation just before the meeting, so I cannot show other kinds of errors, but it will all show what are the possible error and what could be, and the possible reasons are are similar. So this was it. Does anybody have any questions for this?
Thanks. This looks amazing, and I think we approved the pull request already. I'm not sure if we merged it already, but in my opinion, we can merge it. So that's nice. It's exactly what we wanted.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for this contribution.
Yeah,
really helps.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, looking forward to contribute more to it. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like we have a contender for the next T-shirt.
Absolutely. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So we are moving on to Andreas.
Hi everyone. I also would like to show you 3 PRs I was working on this week. So the first one fixed some problems in our Helm charts. For example, here we had a space when we reference the distribute the image. And also environment variables have to be of type string. Therefore, I've quoted them. And yeah, a small issue, the CLI download link was not in the values file, so there was no chance to set it. And thanks to Christian, we verify now the Helm charts. I guess you will show it afterwards, right?
Yep, thanks for the spoiler.
Yeah, I guess people can live with that spoiler. My second issue is in the Dynatrace service as well as in the Dynatrace SLI service. Here I've worked on an issue which allows you to skip the SSL verification. So the use case behind this is if you have your Dynatrace environment secured using a self-signed certificate, then we cannot do, of course, a valid SSL verification. So there needs to be a way to skip this SSL verification. And technically, you can simply here use an environment variable, which is provided in our deploy service YAMLs. And if you set this into false, then there will not be an SSL verification. And in the source code, this is simply, I create a new transport object here and set this in the HTTP client. So this was my second pull request. And the third one is a rather big one. Here I worked on a refactoring of the Dynatrace service. So for example, we had the problem that one error was logged 6 or 7 times here. And this was almost impossible to find the root cause only looking at the logs, because there have been debug messages, info messages, and so on. And therefore, I decided to do a refactoring of this Dynatrace service. And during this refactoring, I also identified that Dynatrace conf YAML, which is a feature by Andy Grabner, this wasn't consistently used. For example, when you did the configure monitoring, Dynatrace conf YAML was simply not used. So you probably have configured against wrong Dynatrace tenant, and this pull request also closes this issue. Yeah, I guess we can have a look now because it's rather big, but if you have questions, please let me know. So the next one is Ermin.
Thank you very much. I'm going to present you 2 pull requests today in the bridge, mainly in the evaluation tile. The first one is enabling highlighting in the heat map. So the issue we had was that in the heat map, you see the comparison of several evaluation events, and previously you had no idea which one is the currently selected one. So now we have a highlighting here. Actually, I will show you a live demo because we changed some colors here of the highlighting because it was not for all use cases perfect. And the second one is rework of the evaluation tile itself. So previously we had the issue that the heat map was between the evaluation score and the SLI breakdown. And we had also some information regarding this evaluation on top here, like the time frame, and also the SLO file was linked up here. And when you click through the heat map, actually the information of this evaluation was changed down here, but you had no information, for example, about the time frame there, or couldn't see the SLO file of that one, And here I'm going to show you a live preview of the rework now. So now you first of all see the heat map on top, where you can now also see the selected, or you see which evaluation is the currently selected one. And then you see all the details about the selected evaluation, also with the criteria, for example, for passed and warning. In this case, when we have a look at the SLO file, we have the criteria that 90% is passed and 50% is warning. So for this case, we have the result warning. You also see the evaluation time frame and some more information. For example, we have also the info here that we compared with the last past evaluation. Also, in case that we have, for example, configured to compare with several evaluations. So in case the SLI breakdown, the SLIs are compared with several evaluations, you will here get the information here compared with, for example, last 3 past evaluations. And yeah, as you can see, when I click through the heat map, you see the corresponding evaluation result. Also, when you select an older root event, yeah, you have the exact evaluation here highlighted in the heat map. Yeah. Are there any questions?
I mean, first of all, I think this is really cool. It helps a lot, and it gives the evaluation tile much more power, because now you exactly know what you are looking at. But as you showed me the pull request, I was wondering whether we also need to consider the labels, because the labels are also changing when you select another evaluation result. Yeah,
True.
right, that one.
True.
And they also will change. I think we need to take we have to look at on an example that has the labels there.
Of course.
But
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's actually that important, because that are the labels of the evaluation done event.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically, that belongs to the header of this tile, if I want to say so. I don't know, the heat map has an interaction, of course, yeah, but yeah.
Or I'm completely wrong. Will the labels change when I click into the heat map?
I think currently not.
Okay.
So you see the labels from the currently selected root event, and they are
then
up
we leave
here.
it. Then we leave it where they are.
And we move just the
I think what we will need at some point is that we display the original evaluation result and the labels, and then compare it to whatever is selected. So we'll probably need both at some point, but I think for now this is fine.
Yeah. We also have a feature request to add the build ID label here with the heat map as well, so that yeah, you can easier find your evaluation, because yeah, now you don't have a label on the x-axis here, but yeah, I think that would be now for now enough. Yeah, that's from my side, and then I'm handing over to Christian.
Thank you. All right. So as Andreas has already, well, I'd say teased and not spoiled in this case, we've implemented a Travis CI task that verifies our Helm chart, in this case, for the latest and for the release installer. It's a very easy call to Helm template, and with the -- debug flag, it basically passes the template and doesn't really process it in the sense of that it installs it on a cluster. And if that has any error in it, we just echo that it has an error, exit with a 1, and by exiting with a 1, the Travis script fails. And yeah, so that kind of should prevent us to commit or to push invalid Helm charts in the future. I hope. We'll see. It definitely helped us in debugging the Helm charts and find out what's wrong. And the other issue I worked on is this bug.
Christian, I would have a question to the last pull request.
Yeah.
So when are the scripts called? So are they already called when I do a PR? Right.
I think if the build latest installer should be called when you do a pull request, and the build release installer is called every time we push something to the release branch.
Okay, cool.
But don't take this for granted. It might be different if you look in Travis CI YAML. All right. The other issue I worked on is a bug and improvement at the same time. When you call Keptn generate support archive, and let's say you have Keptn installed in a different namespace than the Keptn support archive would present you an error message, but no guidance on how to fix it. Also, sometimes the idea was like, what happens if you're not connected to a Kubernetes cluster at all? You need to have a better error message. And in fact, we do have, like in the Keptn install command and in the Keptn uninstall command, we do have a functionality that asks us if this is the correct cluster that we're connected to. And we also added this as something to ask the user before we generate the actual support archive. And here in the pull request, I've copied the result that I implemented as a demo. So if you call generate support archive, it will tell you, hey, is this the correct cluster? You need to say yes or no. And if it's yes, it retrieves everything. If you have Keptn installed in a different namespace, or if you specified the namespace and it's the wrong namespace, the CLI will tell you could not find a valid Keptn installation, use -n to specify another namespace. And last but not least, if no connection to the Kubernetes cluster could be made, which I tried to mimic by overriding my kubeconfig, you will, well, at this point, you'll get an error message from the Kubernetes Go library, but obviously this is the error message that the library is printing, and this is the error message that I'm then printing, like, please reach out to your administrator to get a connection to the Kubernetes cluster. So to be honest, I don't like this part very much, especially after I've seen what Andreas has done to the Dynatrace service. So maybe here we will need some refactoring, because I guess we can suppress that error message and print something nicer. But at the same time, this error message kind of gives me a hint, like what's going on. In this case, like this is something that I have set up here. So yeah, we can discuss in a follow-up issue if you want. And that's it from my side.
All right, then I will take over. I don't have an issue to discuss this week because I could not complete it in time, but I'm still working on my issues. All right, yeah, then let's jump over to the board. I already moved the issues to the done column. We have 2 ready for review. Yeah, let's review them to get it merged. And then we just briefly discuss what's in progress. Andy, how's it going with increasing the test coverage of the Dynatrace SLI service?
Currently fighting with it as we speak.
As we speak, okay.
But yeah, not completed yet, but should be completed hopefully by tomorrow.
Okay, thanks for the update. Then we also pulled in an issue that is also related to Dynatrace integration. That is a pretty nice feature that allows you to tag Dynatrace services with a Keptn service tag, and also with the default Keptn manage tag. And when a directory service has these tags on, then the integration, the Dynatrace Keptn integration, will take this information to create a Keptn service based on that one, based on that information. Yeah, and it also will upload a default SLO for this service, which will then cover the SLOs for a response time, CPU throughput, and failure rate. Thanks to Florian, who already started working on that one. How is it going?
Pretty good so far. So maybe the first working version of that will be ready tomorrow.
Cool, awesome.
But Tuesday at least.
Great. Then my issue I'm still working on is the improvement of the documentation around the quality gates. Yeah, still in progress, and I hope I can finish it by tomorrow. Okay, then Ermin, here we have a bug that is about the MIME types in the bridge.
Yeah, this is still in progress since I have been working actually on these issues or features for 072. I had no time to verify that one.
Okay.
But
do you
yeah,
need more information?
No, I got all details about it and looking forward to yeah, fix it.
All right. Then here we have one, it's for the Keptn CLI, just to help the user to provide update instructions whenever there is a new Keptn CLI version available, because right now, yeah, the user gets no guidance how to upgrade the CLI version when a new one is there. Andreas, you already filed a PR.
Yeah, can you please click on this PR? Because there's a discussion ongoing here, because
I think you need to, actually, if you scroll down, it should be listed, yeah.
Yeah. Because what I did here is I'm pointing to our operate upgrade page within the docs page. And of course, if we would change the structure of our docs page, this link would break.
Of course.
And if we would change it, all CLI versions could run into an error, of course. So Christian here has a few comments, yeah.
Yeah, so like my first suggestion was like to use a separate download page, which we don't have yet, so we would have to create it. And then I did some homework and looked into other projects like Istio and Helm, and they basically just reference the quick start guide, and that obviously only contains the installation guide for the latest CLI version, and no guidance in upgrading from something to something else. So yeah, I wanted to bring this up in the community meeting and actually have an open discussion about it, or at least mention that there is a discussion and invite people to add their comments.
Yeah, that's true. In the quick start, we always reference the latest stable Keptn version, and also provide the instructions to install it automatically or manually. Yeah, I like that idea, because then we would never break all the CLIs that are out there when we change the structure of the release documentation.
Right, but at the same time, it could also be a little bit misleading. So when you upgrade Keptn, there are always two parts. You have to upgrade the CLI and you have to upgrade the master version or the Kubernetes cluster. So this information is here not available, the quick start.
Yep.
So people could think, yep, I've upgraded the CLI and now I'm done. That's not the case.
That's true. Okay.
Let's discuss this on the issue. I will also make my point. And all then we will definitely find a solution. In the worst case, or a fallback would be to simply go back to keptn.sh, which is the most general link we can provide.
All right. Then I will skip the other ones because they are planned for going out with 0.8. Okay, then Jürgen left the call, but we will ask him for an update the next time. And I see that that's really cool. We already got an assignment.
Yeah. So Supratik, who is in the call here, has suggested this on Slack, I think, and he's posted the issue just a couple minutes ago, and he asked that he is assigned to the issue. So I've just quickly done that. Basically, and he's made a valid point there. Our makefile is empty right now, and well, let's fill it with some content like using GoThumb or linting the code, preparing things for a pull request, etc. Thanks for getting this up, and I think there is not really a huge definition of what you should do. So if you just come up with a plan, or if you just come up with a proposal, we are probably willing to accept it as because every part of the automation helps us in this sense.
Yeah, sure,
cool.
definitely. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Okay, then let's jump to the backlog. Here I have one issue that is to some extent also related to a Dynatrace integration. It is about enabling and disabling a feature or features within this integration. There is already an ongoing discussion, and 2 days ago there also have been a summary of what has been discussed. I think we are ready to get that one implemented.
So actually, Integraten already agreed to do this. Am I correct?
Yes, and actually I have already implemented it as part of my refactoring and testing.
That's even better.
That's even better. Thank you very much, Andy. Cool.
I guess if you do me the favor and just put my name on it. Okay,
I
perfect.
did, yeah.
Thank you.
Then I have here one issue that is related to the heat map, and also Ermin did a spoiler about that one, because as we already have the feature to show the build ID at the chart on the x-axis, we also want to get this information into the heat map. And in a discussion around this issue, we came up with the idea to not show it in the heat map, but here on the vertical axis. Also to have it a little bit more prominent and not like an oval, yeah, in the heat map.
Yeah, you can assign it to me, of course.
All right. And the next one is also related to the heat map, and it's about showing the compared evaluation results, as we now get the information from the Lighthouse service which evaluation results were used for comparison. We have now also the possibility to show them and to visualize them in the heat map.
Yeah, and since we can highlight things in the heat map now.
Now everything ties together.
Good one. Yeah, of course, I will take that one as well.
Cool, thanks. All right, and then Christian, you was bringing in this issue.
Yeah. So we have our great delivery assistant, and we have some documentation about it in the CLI docs and in Keptn's Bridge, or at least in a docs about Keptn Bridge. But what I'm kind of missing is something similar to what we have in the docs for Quality Gate. So a separate page for the delivery assistant where I can click on and you get the general idea of the delivery assistant and how to use it via the CLI. We can also have the link to Keptn's Bridge, or even move the section from Keptn's Bridge to that part, because as a user, I think you're interested in going towards the docs and clicking on delivery assistant and you know how it works. And from there, you can go to the tutorials and run a tutorial if you want to. And yeah, so it's a doc update. And actually, if I may, I would like to do it as well, because I brought it up and I found that there is an issue, so I can do it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I could probably also keep talking. The next issue is also a doc issue, listing all installation options that we have in our Helm chart, or at least all that are relevant for the user. Because like we have the prefix path for Helm, we have the option to enable or disable continuous delivery, which will install Helm and JMeter and so on. We have the API Gateway Nginx service type that we can configure, and with the updates of Keptn's Bridge that we saw, I think, in last week's community meeting, we also have like the download URL for the CLI and some other feature flags for Keptn's Bridge. They can, in theory, all be controlled via the Helm chart values.yaml, but this is obviously not documented right now, and yeah, so I propose that we document this. And also I've pinged Andreas Grimmer on this issue because he might know some more installer options that we could document.
Right. So if time allows, I can contribute here. But please let's do this unassigned. So if I have time, I will assign myself.
And I think there, maybe we can also, or it should be a joint work on that one, because there are bridge-related tasks, then installer-related tasks, and so on.
Maybe you can assign me and then assign Andreas as a backup. Then I can prepare my part, and then Andreas just has to fill in any additional values or
Cool.
double check them.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. And then, yeah, the last one that I have prepared is actually preparing also the documentation for the 0.7.2 release, but this is more or less a meta issue of issues that are also addressed by other topics, by other issues. I just wanted to summarize what needs to be checked and verified before we go online with the new documentation. I think I will leave it also there as it is. All right, yeah. As you can see, we are getting closer to bringing or to release 0.7.2, and unfortunately we don't have that much minutes left. But Christian, do you still want to talk a little bit about the releasing process?
Yeah, I'll go over it quickly, not about the process, but about the fact that we have one, if I may share my screen.
Sure.
So the Keptn releasing process, I've linked it here, is a wiki page that basically has a release checklist that consists of many bullet points that we need to work on for the release, which is mainly because we have a mono repo and we have so many microservices that need to be released and need to be checked. And we would like to invite people to help us with the process. So basically there's a step list, and what this requires is usually the right access to the Git repository. So if anyone is willing to help us, we can obviously invite them with right access. And yeah, if you just want to go over the list, it's in our wiki on github.com/Keptn/wiki. And if you are willing to take any of these, just hit us on Slack and we will get something worked out. Also, we've added the automation wanted flag on some of these. So if you are good with automating such tasks, just let us know and feel free to help us.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Okay, then I think we are at the end for this week's community meeting. Also, we are on the top of the hour. When you ever have questions regarding issues, regarding upcoming tasks, feel free to reach out to us via Slack or directly by posting a comment on the issue, and we are very happy to help out. Okay, other than that, thanks for joining. this meeting and see you then next week. Bye.
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 Bye.